Hey guys, it's Matt. It's good to show my face every so often so people can see, especially new people, who's behind the channel. Just some regular person like you trying to figure out the madness out our window and what the hell's going on, which it gets stranger and stranger by the day, no doubt about that. I just want to reiterate the purpose of the book because the initial 40 chapters or 50 chapters are very, very negative. Okay? It does or is intended to break down someone new to all of this, to break down someone's worldview. If you were to walk away from the book, or anybody new to this that I wouldn't consider to be the old YouTube guard or reality junkies that go back with me 7 or 8 years, if you were to read the first or listen to the first 40 or 50 chapters and just say, I can't take this anymore, it's too negative, this guy's presenting a certain element of reality that they're showing me, or they told me in school was such, or Anderson Cooper presented like this, and everything is breaking down. Nothing is what it seems. And underneath nothing is what it seems, there's a very dark, sinister element. The Lochnar, there's a green ball somewhere dictating things on this realm. It's very negative. If you walk away after 40 or 50 chapters, then I've done a disservice. Then you've created more hell in your reality bubble, and then you just carry that hell around with you. There has to be, I don't have the perfect positive solution, but I try to be as positive as I can on the back end of the book. Again, one of the main, this is a test. This reality is a test of some kind. I don't have the specifics, but I'm very convinced that this isn't just some random big bang that blowed up and we're just here, as the atheists say, for a short while and we just go to dust. And no, there's a purpose, an absolute purpose. It's coded in this existence. It's coded in the math. You can see the script that's running. You can feel it in your inner knowing. So one of the main ways of at least passing first grade in the test is being able to see the bullcrap that's presented. So I've said before, being able to see it is absolutely step one. Or if there are 5 major tests to pass, being able to see it is passing Billy Madison passing first grade. Maybe it's a little better than first grade. Maybe it's graduating from elementary school. We actually graduated from elementary school. Did you graduate? We had a big ceremony, ridiculous, but I guess it was fun at the time. But yeah, being able to see it. So that's always been my role, is everything presented around us on this gigantic IMAX screen, for the most part, it's fake. Everything presented by what you would call society or the powers that be or politics. And I'm going to get into that on the back end here. For anybody new, I'm going to kind of present a bridge. Here's where we are. Here's what we determined to be fake. And let's use that information to go forward to really understand what this reality is all about. But that's been my role, is I call it being able to read the matrix code, seeing the bullcrap, seeing the shenanigans, and then trying to present it in a way that people can understand. Presenting it in a way that resonates with people. People just see me, somebody trying to figure it out, no different than they are. I don't have any insider information. I wasn't initiated into anything, nor do I want to be. I simply observe the crazy reality that's breaking down before our eyes. But in doing this sort of channel, I am constantly pulled into other discussions, really, really big, high level things many times that I don't even understand. And although I like thinking as big as possible, I have always said to even figure out a tiny bit of what's going on here, we need to think around 2 corners. Was that even possible? You have to think in ways that aren't even possible, or you would think are impossible. You have to open your mind up to that degree. And even so, I don't think we're ever going to figure it out. It's not our role to figure everything out here. Our role is to get ourselves right, figure out our role in all of this. what we want to accomplish through this life test, not to figure out all the shenanigans, how they pull off everything, how they pull off the who, what, when, where, why, and how, what exactly the George Bush creatures are up to. That's pissed on breadcrumbs they want us chasing. And I like pondering these big thoughts. I really do. Every once in a while I hit on something that resonates with people. The fact that what I call the George Bush creatures potentially in this life test are neither positive nor negative. Certainly they're not positive, but I mean negative or evil in the sense of the Lochnar. The Lochnar came into this realm to just create havoc, death, and evil. The Lochnar from heavy metal. It simply might be their role in helping us with our test. Their role, like the keymaker in Matrix 2. I think he says something very simple. He says, I know that because it is my purpose to know. There's no emotion, there's no positive, no negative. I know because it is my purpose. George Bush creatures do certain things because potentially it is their purpose. No endless war, death, fake and constructed terrorism. Now, these are very, very sick and evil things, but in a way, it may be their purpose. Now, this is not the purpose of this video to go off and down that branch. I'm just saying I like to think big in those areas, but this was not the intention of this channel. The intention of this channel was more catered and geared towards people just kind of waking up to all of this. Somebody that pops their head out of the water and says, this is not what they told me it is. Like, something's going on here. And talking to those people and breaking everything down as a fraud and the point is, once you get those people to see that everything as it's been presented to us is a fraud, then maybe don't come back to Matt for the answer, but look for the answer yourself, because you've passed the first test. Just being able to see it is passing the first test. Then you get into all that stuff that we talked about that I'm not an expert at expressing, doing the inward work, understanding what your role here, what you need to do for your own spiritual progression. Obviously, it's not just playing the game of life or running the rat race, the human race, the rat race. We can learn what to do by observing what the George Bush creatures and all the puppet masters of society craft, and they project a screen around us. I have a video coming that breaks down what I call the two different elements of reality. Our own lives, our own reality bubble, but then the screen they project around us, a screen of nonsense. Barack Obama, here's Ellen DeGenerate, and here's Bruce Genders. Oh, he wants to be a woman. It's just constant nonsense. Here's the red carpet at the Oscars, and here's Elon Musk launching another rocket, and it's just this. They constantly want us paying attention to the screen, and if you could observe what it wants from us, and that gives away what we're really supposed to do. Obviously, the most basic example, and this is getting too much in the weeds, this video. I want to go back to the basics for anybody new. But you can obviously, what is one of a million things it wants us to do is just chasing materialism. This is just kindergarten, first level, first day in kindergarten. It wants us to load up with the mortgage and load up with the car lease and buy the second beach home. It wants us to load up with debt, materialism. Although it may be their role to project that, potentially, if they are some sort of archonic, vampiric life suckers, they might get something from that. Again, I don't want to go into the weeds in this video. You can see what it wants us to do, so we clearly then know what not to do. We've passed another life test, because you can interpret very easily what it wants through society's construct, and you simply just do the opposite. That's like passing second grade. So there's a lot of high-level discussion that needs to take place, and it's fun to ponder all this. But in the end, I've said we don't need to figure all of this stuff out. What the creatures intend and what they're doing to us, the who, what, when, why, and how, we're never going to know. And stop chasing the pissed-on breadcrumbs. Figure out what we need to do for ourselves. So I just want to get back, and I'll call this segment of the video the bridge. I'm going to lay out kind of where we are, or what the people that do what I do break down the false reality, where we are, and generally where we agree. For anybody new, because there's a lot of new people here, most of the people that email me and many of the commenters are at the very high level, cutting edge, and what I call the old guard. But you have to understand how many thousands and thousands of people are just putting their head out of the water, going, something's not right here. This is very dark, very scary, and I will always cater to those people, because I'm not smart enough to be at the very first seat of the roller coaster in terms of interpreting the actual elements of what this reality is all about, the spiritual battle that's taking place. I'm more in the back cars. I can observe it and explain it in ways that newer people can understand, and that's always what I wanted the channel to be. But I'm constantly pulled in to the front car of the train, or the front seat of the roller coaster. So anyway, here's where we are, folks, and that was a long lead-in, very long lead-in, but I think it was necessary. All right, so very, very quickly, without trying to convince anyone or prove anything, there's no time for that, for these 100 topics. Just trying to show people where we are. And again, we're not going to agree on everything, but 90%, the best way to put it is 90% or so of the smart people, or the smartest people that I know have commented here, that I know were on the cutting edge of figuring out or trying to figure out what the hell's going on, 90% would agree with all of this. So obviously we're not going to have complete agreement and consensus for bizarre topics that run across this gamut, but here goes. Start with the big one. I'm going to roll through this as quickly as possible. This is for the new person. You can either you can trust me on this or not, but I'm just telling you where the consensus is. Start with the big one, but yet the one that's most easy to see. 9/11 obviously was not 19 hijackers. The official story is absurd, completely absurd. There's almost no element of the official story that's true. Most likely there were no planes. Whether there were planes or not, it is a less filling, taste great debate that's not essential in seeing that there were no 19 hijackers. Okay. Going from there, the kindergarten reason people, once they see 9/11, for saying it was done, is so the military-industrial complex can continue to get their money and they can continue to fight their fake war on terrorism. That's kindergarten level conspiracy. 9/11, there is no doubt, was a monster occult ritual, a ritual of some kind. An attempt to usher in a new era, potentially even a ritual that was meant to influence the very fabric of reality itself. Okay, do I know exactly what I was going to say the George Bush creatures are up to? Hey, George Bush knows nothing of all this, in my opinion. He's a puppet, but politics is separate. Let's stay on 9/11. It was an occult ritual meant to move the very fabric of reality. Sure, they get more wars out of it, more death. They love that. But that isn't even the main purpose. I mean, that's a tertiary side benefit. Okay. So that is basically where we are on 9/11. Oh, well, one last thing. In terms of how they came down, the leading theory is still Judy Wood. Some sort of directed energy turned them to dust. There was no, maybe it was nanothermite, it doesn't matter. But it was the technology that brought it down was something that is just not even available to the general public. The giant cloud over New York was the tower. There was no rubble pile. There's nothing left. It completely turned to dust. So the entire cloud, there was at one point an entire cloud over Manhattan. That was the tower. Okay, the most important thing is it was a ritual. Now, that gets into, let's just go into another, where are we? George Bush and Dick Cheney orchestrated it. No. Look, I'm going to say things like that, like I'm extremely confident. That's just the way I make my presentations. I want to be very humble here. We don't know exactly. These are, when all of reality is breaking down, we don't know exactly what's going on. I don't ever want to seem arrogant. When I just say no, it just means I'm very, very confident that regular men like Dick Cheney and George Bush, they sat around the table planning 9/11, and George Bush is literally like a marionette character on strings. Literally. He might have crawled into when they were planning 9/11, he might have crawled into the room playing with his matchbox cars, smash them together like Tommy Boy. He was playing. He wasn't involved. He's just a head, a figurehead, a puppet. You could see when they announced, and then they said to Andy Card, whisper in his ear, he had that look like they really did it. That stuff I heard them talking about when I was playing with my matchbox cars, they really did it. That was the look on his face. The point is, if the leader or the mayor or the president or the prime minister, if these leaders or the senator, if they're on television showing their big fat face on the Sunday morning shows, we know, and again, I want to be humble with this, but I'm just going to present it the rest of the time. I was going to say, we know they don't control anything. We know they don't make any decisions. If they're showing their big fat face around TV on Face the Nation, they don't control squat. Like that FBI department had said to Keanu Reeves in it's a movie about the surfing. I'm sorry. It's just, they don't know squat, okay, about what's going on. And again, and if I say things too confidently, I don't mean to be that way. I'm just telling you what 98% of us would agree on after 8 to 10 years of hardcore research. I don't know everything for a fact, and I want to be humble. We have to be in all this. But that would lead one to think, if none of these politicians parading around as being all powerful have any power, where is the real power? Well, we know there are the next level up in the pyramid would be things we've all heard of, but this isn't even the top level. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the secret societies, which is the offshoots of the Illuminati, and the Golden Dawn, and the Freemasons, and the Rosicrucians, and the Skull and Bones. And no doubt that is a higher rung, but smart people generally agree that there is a rung or two higher than that. Smart people generally agree that that the very highest, shadow room, we don't know, but it's most likely not human. Okay, that doesn't mean little green men and aliens and Martians. It could mean interdimensional intelligence. It could mean an AI, an artificial intelligence of some sort. They present Sophia, the retarded robot, is presented getting a citizenship from Saudi Arabia. I am very pleased to accept citizenship from the kingdom. They call it Sophia. When they'll present to you retarded robot technology to throw off the scent that what they have is way, way, way more advanced. Or the dark Lochnar thing at the top of the pyramid is some sort of artificial intelligence. We don't know. But the point is, it doesn't stop at a president. He's just a marionette. Trump, they all are. It's just a fool on marionette strings. Go 2 or 3 more levels, and that's what's really calling the shots. Anything's on the table there. We just don't know. Anything. An ancient artificial intelligence, interdimensional intelligence, some sort of satanic creature. some sort of Satan creature, a demiurge of some. It's all on the table. We don't know. But it certainly doesn't stop with the politicians. That's what they want us to believe. And anybody that observes reality, I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. We who observe this think that the power stops there. I mean, anyway, let's just move on. Space. A lot of debate all over the place. Gets right into globe Earth, flat Earth. I don't like two doors, okay? In a reality that throws endless breadcrumbs, I don't like two doors, okay? I think between two extremes, there might be a trillion other possibilities, and that's what I keep on the table. And yeah, there's no doubt that this reality can show both sides. Tremendous evidence to support its position. I don't really care how hard or physical or the shape of everything. That has not been my area of interest. Okay? But space itself is very interesting to me. What is it or is it not? And there is more infighting amongst people like me as to what is really going on. But to me, the smartest people would agree here on the basics that space certainly isn't what it's presented to be. Nobody obviously went to the moon. The moon likely is not some rock planet orbiting. It's just not that. It's not 250,000 miles away. It's likely very, very local, very close. Whatever it is, it could be a projection. It could be a hologram. It's not some rock of dust, okay? It's not what they say it is. There's no reason to get into the weeds here. It's trying to help out the new person. It's not what they say. It's local. Local. It's in the atmosphere. Although RT reports that NASA says it's in our atmosphere now. Where'd that come from? But when they put out those sorts of articles, it's so that they have a defense or something to fall back on when the reality they present breaks down. So you can look up. It's in a blue sky. I mean, it's not. There's no way something 250,000 miles away could a cat litter box could reflect the light of the sun back through 250,000 miles of black space, and then that light from the cat litter box could just invade our atmosphere and get all the way to your eyes. The only way that you'd be able to see it is if it's really just right there. I don't think it's just above a 767. The pilot says, "Bring it down. We're going to hit the moon." No, it's not that close, but it's generally there. I'm not even going to guess it. I don't know. Okay, that's just ignorant to start throwing out numbers or where I think it is. I don't believe NASA. Okay, let's just go into NASA now. I don't believe NASA. I believe NASA's lied about basically everything. Everything. There is no evidence whatsoever that there's an ISS up there now. Do I have all the answers? No. But there's no evidence. In fact, most of the evidence points that there is no ISS up there now. Most of the evidence points nobody goes anywhere. Okay, no Apollo astronaut ever went anywhere. No Neil Armstrong or John Glenn or Chuck Norris. I know he wasn't in the Apollo or Gemini programs, Chuck Norris. But he might have been in the Mercury program. Nobody goes anywhere. Elon Musk. We know a rocket goes up. Sometimes many of us in our segments, we go ultra conspiracy. And that, no, rockets go up. I mean, I have friends of the family that have been down in Florida. You can hear the thing, whether it be a shuttle or whatever. You can hear it. They either said hear it or see it at night from almost 100 miles away. I guess you'd be able to see it at night from 100 miles away. A huge of course, you can. Rockets go up. I mean, if you're just a neighboring town or two over from Cape Canaveral, you hear it. It rumbles the world. Something goes up. What happens after that? The smartest people in this fight would say we don't know. Most likely, there's no evidence they go up into anything. Now, there's people that say, "Oh, we saw the little dot transverse the moon with our cameras or a telescope." I don't care. I don't care. The evidence, all these shiny, happy people on the ISS, Every time they're smiling, and plus all the work people have done showing the wires, it's a joke. So in terms of space, the consensus is it's a gigantic fraud. Where exactly we'll agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. We would all generally agree it's a fraud on a massive scale. Now the only thing I'll entertain there, or smart people entertain, is on the other side you have these Project Camelot, Kerry Cassidy interviews, and I don't put a lot of stock in it. I don't. All these whistleblowers saying, but I listen, and I don't take anything off the table. All these whistleblowers, if you don't have 400 hours to go to and listen to all the Project Camelot whistleblower interviews, I'll sum them up for you in about 30 seconds. You can take my 30 seconds or 400 hours. You choose. Here's the 30-second summary. These whistleblowers come forth, say the U.S. has a secret space program. There's Stargates. They have a whole ships that can go to Mars. They can teleport to Mars. They can walk through interdimensional gateways, meaning the government. What they would say is the government presents this absurd front of space through buffoons like Elon Musk. And the reason is they keep the masses entertained. I have family. These people are very smart, and they come forth and tell me, "Did you see Elon Musk put a car, a roadster, a convertible ragtop into an orbit around Mars?" And I just bite my tongue really hard and turn the other way and try to change the subject back to the NFL. No, Elon Musk didn't put no roadster in no orbit around Mars. Even himself said that he didn't change anything about the car. The tires would have immediately exploded. But they present the dumbed down version of space, and they send their rockets up. So the Kerry Cassidy camp would say that's a ruse, because what they're doing is 1,000 times more advanced with this secret space program. That is, they would say, it's not my contention, they would say it is in league with other alien intelligences. Now, there is no evidence to that, so I don't put any stock in it. Catherine Austin Fitts and people like that seem very smart, very interested in figuring out the truth, very legitimate. I don't trust anybody on that side because there's no evidence of it. There's no evidence of it. Was it my friend Roger pointed me to a recent interview with, she was a great granddaughter of Dwight Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, and she comes forth in her testimony, and this was not Project Camelot, but this is the theme of the Project Camelot stuff. It's one whistleblower or somebody that has information, one after the other, year after year after year. And this was an Eisenhower. I don't remember her first name. She said, yeah, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, generally, they had the agreements in place with the ETs or the aliens, the extraterrestrials. The agreements were in place, and the secret space program was going on. And look, I'm just telling you that is all very interesting to watch those videos, and I'm not taking anything off the table, but there's no evidence whatsoever to believe any sort of that testimony. There just isn't. And in fact, there is much more evidence that it's just not believable. So hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people and you could even go back into some of the testimony of Bill Cooper about stumbling upon parts of the government that was working with aliens. And I just, there's just no evidence. One person never would step forward. She talked about her great-grandfather, this great man. No, he's not. He's not a great man, Dwight Eisenhower. If he knew things about the nature of this reality that was concealed. Oh, and wasn't he a great man just for delivering that military-industrial complex speech? Big deal. If you know something or you knew something, tell people. If you don't tell people, then no. Well, look, I guess there could be reasons, if any of that's real, why you wouldn't say anything. Again, I don't buy it. I'm just telling you where people are in this battle to figure out what the hell's going on. You know, the aliens told Dwight Eisenhower, well, if you tell everybody you saw Dwight Eisenhower, you saw the movie Independence Day. I know it didn't exist. You saw Independence Day. Well, we're going to do that to all of you if you mention anything. There's just no evidence behind it, and I don't spend time chasing those breadcrumbs anymore. Where are we? Economics and finance. Very, very quickly, in the opinions of myself, the smartest people, there is nothing is hard anymore, nothing's real anymore. The entire global system is a computerized system of digital finance, where all the world's central banks and countries are all coordinating together to keep this ultimate Ponzi scheme afloat. So the European Central Bank, working on the exact same Whopper mainframe, Whopper computer from war games, probably not using the actual Whopper, but something like it. They know where to inject their billions daily to keep this Ponzi scheme afloat. The Bank of Japan, they're all in on it, all together. And there is when you buy a stock, there's nothing physical. It's all done on a supercomputer that can be manipulated at any time by the artificial intelligence or the Whopper computer. Now, I don't have as much confirmation from others that this is what's going on economically. This has been mostly my theory. So I want to, where hundreds and hundreds of the smartest people agree on everything I've mentioned. Here, there's not as many people, but it's to me, this one's even more obvious to see. It's a global system all coordinated together. And if it wasn't perfectly coordinated, the bottom would drop out of all these currencies, and it would be 1929 Great Depression times about 1 million. So what this leads to is agreements between countries, or this new world order. And I would think the smartest people do agree that, for lack of better words, there's almost no such thing as countries. They present country sovereignty and individuality and their own flag, and even if any of that is true, they agreed, in my opinion, a long time ago to work under one global system. Even the Chinese. Those rogue Chinese, they do what they want. No, it's all one global system. And the ruse is countries are on their own. And, every once in a while there could be a 2-bit country at war with a 2-bit country. Whatever happened in Yemen. They don't sit at the grand table. Even Russia is in on it, in my opinion. There's no space race where, if anything was real, if Russia stood alone, they would have exposed the fraud of the fake space program back in the late 60s. Look, could there be some degree of autonomous decision making on a country level? Sure. But in the end of the day, far above what you see on TV, the G7 or the whatever it's up to, the G14 or the G jerk me off or whatever they sit around and talk about economic policy. No, they agreed a long time ago. This new world order, when's it coming? No, it's been here for a long, long time. Okay, every country agrees, and China's in on it. I mean, what a coincidence! There's all these countries around the world that can manufacture your fake dog poop, but 95% of all manufacturing, just all China. And why wouldn't it be China, right? They're so easy to work with, and they don't it's in the grand scheme of global coordination. They were chosen to be the manufacturing for the world, chosen from a global perspective. So they keep the grand Ponzi scheme of currencies going, but in my opinion, they could flip a switch overnight and go to one global currency. They will at some point. They just have to make sure the scheme is ushered in a way that people, not too many people other than me and you, pop our head out of the water and go, oh, what's going on here? So it has to be done of course, they'll drum up a crisis. I mean, it's just the same old tired playbook and script. So, what else is fake? Our history. I know that's a huge thing on the internet right now. I'm not as well versed in it. Does it surprise me that humongous elements of our history were covered up or manipulated? No, it's in the nature of the beast that's here. My favorite old parable, there's a flood and the scorpion needs to get across the river. And I guess, I don't know the animals, I forget the nature of it. The horse offers to, or the fox, smaller animal, offers to swim the scorpion across the river to safety, but says, I'm really kind of worried about doing this. You're going to sting me. And the scorpion's like, you know where I'm going with this. Scorpion's like, of course I'm not going to sting you. I need to get to the other side. We're all dead. Well, that makes sense. Halfway across, the scorpion stings the fox. He says, what'd you do that for? Now we're both going to die. I had to. It's in my nature. That's what I do. I had to. Like the George Bush creatures, the Dick Cheney creatures, the Queen. It's in, they would say it's in my nature. It's what I'm here to do. And in the control structure that's here, it's in their nature. More war? Yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll take double. More death? Yeah, we'll have a double. It's what they do is screw everybody in every single area. Sorry, I'm back. So I was going to say, no, I'm not surprised if they covered up or wiped out much of our history, but I'm not going to chase that. Those types of topics I don't think are worth chasing right now. It's in their nature. Yeah. Well, they lied about this, they lied about that. Oh, I'm so surprised they lied about that. So I'm more concerned with what's going forward. And to me, if everything's a fraud, yeah, so what? Our history's a fraud. It just goes along with it's just another chapter in the script. So, all right. What else? Let's just get to the only area that really does frighten me, concerns me. And before I say this, we cannot harbor the negative and actually foster and manifest this hell for them, being played by them. The purpose of these exercises is to see it and then to figure a very positive way to improve yourself, to change it. So I have to keep reiterating that, because this channel, I've delivered a lot of bad news over the years, and it fosters it just creates a personal hell, a reality, and we've got to turn it into a positive, and that's what this channel will be focused on. But people need to see it before they're willing to do anything, and my role is so people can see it. So the thing that scares me and it really concerns me is the chemtrails. Okay, guys, I had to re-record. I was just rambling, and even so, this is going to be a little bit all over the place, because when it comes to chemtrails, I don't have any answers. I think nobody does, for the most part. People ramble off about weather manipulation and geoengineering and barium and strontium and chromium and bromium and zomium and vomium, and that's first grade stuff, if you ask me. I'm not running those people down that have studied all of that. I appreciate anybody that exposes chemtrails. Is a friend. So we're not running anybody down. What I'm saying is, the reason it concerns me is there's something, and again, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I truly believe this. I don't mean to be too dark, but it's very, very incomprehensibly dark, in my opinion, what's going on with chemtrails. It relates to, in my opinion, nanoparticulate, this talk of smart dust, which could be tied into 5G. I don't have the words, but it's potentially reinforces, at the very minimum, reinforces a veil of reality. A veil. Somebody, a very smart person, sent me a video about what she said, the 8 veils of reality. And I believe something like that is going on, where we might have broken through the fifth or the sixth veil, for example. People at the forefront here of seeing the manipulation. But our neighbor might be right in the first veil or second veil, and you could show them, you could take your iPad over to them, and you could show them a giggling, smiling Robbie Parker the day after, not giggling, but you would take a podium with huge smiles the day after your first grader was gunned down to death. Come on. So any point is, anybody should be able to see that. Within 2 seconds, someone should say, there's no possible way there was a shooting. Nobody would ever act like this. It's 100% fake. Well, I have a mountain of more evidence. I don't need to see a mountain of more evidence. That's all I need to see. Anybody can immediately see it. Once you're through a few veils, you can just see it. And you could take your iPad over to your neighbor, and they'd come up with something. They'd say, well, even if they say it's odd, they might not even say it's odd. They might not even see that it's odd. There's so many veils. Like, literally, I think that's how this reality operates, where they would say, well, that people act differently, they react differently to death. We've heard that one. Like, what? No, they don't. They cry, and they sob all night. So when she presented the video, basically something like that is going on. And it's not just one spell or one veil. There probably are multiple. So I'm sorry, I can't reference. So many people have emailed me. I'm so confused. I don't have everybody's name, and I'm sorry. But this was very, very good, and it was very in line with what I believe. And I believe that, back to the chemtrails, this is part of it. I don't know. It really. And the other thing that concerns me about the chemtrails is, I would say, in a video coming up, I talk about our reality bubble, but then they project a screen around us, an IMAX screen. Look at this. Look at Ellen DeGenerate with her selfie and all the bullcrap, and it wants you to reach out and touch it. I have a whole video coming up on that, and it's written, and I think you'll find it very interesting. It's almost like a part 2 of that video that's, for some reason, going mega viral, or for our circles viral, called like This Can't Wait. It's like a part 2 to that coming up this weekend. And I've written most of it out, and I think you'll find it very interesting. But the main concept is, it wants us to reach out and engage with it, all the shenanigans on the screen. And initially, a theory would be, or I want to say, the screen needs us to engage with it. It can't directly affect us. But that's not the case. Look at chemtrails. Look at a draft for war, for example. Or if you're drafted for war and you don't go, well, it can reach right in and grab you. It's not like you have to go engage with it. And chemtrails, one of the main reasons it bothers me is in pursuing materialism and pursuing all the shenanigans that it presents on the screen around us, like Bruce Gender. We have to engage with it. We have to provide it with energy, emotion. We have to take it, run it through that CIA propagation machine, Facebook, so we can pass the hell to everybody around us. But chemtrails don't. Like, it'll today. There we go. I mean, today. Last 2 days haven't had it. Today, beautiful blue skies again in the morning, and then here they come. We know, but for anybody new, if one plane would produce a gigantic trail, all 40,000 would. One plane has the same engine structure dynamics as every other plane. So there's 40,000 flights of a larger aircraft size. Maybe 32,000, 30,000 commercial, like getting on United Airlines. Others are FedEx, UPS, all that other stuff. If one plane produced a gigantic trail, they all would. So if that was the case, no one would ever see the sun in certain shipping lanes, say between Maine and Florida. Planes go right up and down the same, basically invisible highway. They'd never see the sun, ever, under certain atmospheric conditions, if they were contrails, not chemtrails. The other thing is, it always seems to be the same. The morning will be clear in many cases, and the chemtrail will come out at 9:30 or 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and the atmospheric conditions haven't changed. So no planes took off between 8 in the morning and 10. If one did it in those atmospheric conditions, they all would. And not all 10, all 40,000. So planes would make it so a good swath of the United States you wouldn't be able to see the sun. Obviously, if that was the case, then it would, it wouldn't be subtle. In other words, so they do it, and it's just subtle enough where obviously for some veiled reason most people don't notice. It is plainly obvious, but anybody, any channel that is trying to convince people of chemtrails, there's no point. One, it's ridiculously obvious, and two, we can't convince people of certain things because of the veil that they're under. They just simply won't be able to see it. My neighbor, well, those planes have always done that sort of thing. My neighbor, planes have always done that sort of thing. Yeah, I remember that as a kid. Was it part of his reality as a kid? I don't think so. I'm Mandela affected, so it's possible. Who knows? Point is, it doesn't matter. This is the now moment. It's happening now. And what bothers me is it's an instance where the screen can reach in and impinge directly on my reality. So I can be standing or sitting out on my deck, and all of a sudden, the sun intensity goes down. And I didn't ask for it. I didn't reach out to touch it. It's touching me. And I don't like when the screen, or what I call the screen, the IMAX around us, can do that. So that's just level one as to why it bothers. And then you get into what exactly is coming out. Nanoparticulates, smart dust, things we don't know exactly. Okay, we don't know. Okay, we don't know. But is it on the table that whatever it is done to actually influence reality itself? At the very minimum, create another veil or reinforce the veil over the masses. Yeah, all of that is not just on the table, it's likely. And it's very invasive because I like blue sky and sun. I really do. It feels good on my skin. I feel there's a health aspect to it. And it's just harder and harder to get the sun we need. And it's very, very dark. Very, very, very dark. So that is one area that I'm going to really pay attention to. And the people that come forth and say nanoparticulates even related to 5G somehow all tied together, it's dark. I pay attention. What am I going to do with it? What can we do about that? I got to wrap this up, but we always have to keep the positive. The most important thing we can do, we can't go out and fight it with a club. Okay, we can't fight it. Chemtrails, whatever's producing it, nobody sees these planes take off, nobody sees them land. No, they're not just the pilot in United Airlines, not just pulling the lever and people looking out the window, all of a sudden they see. No, it's not United Airlines. Something is going on beyond what we understand reality to be. Okay, we're never going to know potentially exactly what it is. Where do they land? Where do they take off? All that is, it's just a big mystery. Big mystery. Nobody sees the workers at the airport. They're all in on it, pushing giant chemical things on board Delta Airlines or United Airlines and Southwest. No, okay? It's not that. Something else is going on beyond our comprehension, like a fly trapped on a plane at altitude. Tell the fly where he is, his predicament. Mr. Fly, you're on your way to Los Angeles. Right now we're at 30,000 feet. You conspiracy theorist asshole. Shut the F up and let me go. I'm going to try to find the lavatory. I'm going to sit on something in there. He wouldn't believe you. That's kind of the situation we're in many of these. So we don't have to figure it all out. What we do have to figure out is what we do, the positive aspect. And it always comes back to simplicity. It's what are we here to do? What is this test doing for our soul, our spiritual progression? No matter what the shenanigans they're playing and how they continually screw with us, it's no matter how bad it gets potentially, look at it as a test. How am I learning from it? How am I bettering myself? What is this spiritual battle taking place? And if it's taking place, it's for a piece of us. It's for a piece of me. It wants us to give something to it. One of the most, if I had one sentence as to what the goal or what the final exam would be in this human experience test, as it exists in this day and age. One sentence, it would be something like, and I don't like the word human being. We need to talk about that. That's a word they probably gave us, but it's people like he's talking about one big sentence and he won't get it out. Man, I don't know. Sometimes you get screwed with like that, and you get distracted. And what it would be is to stay human. I'm getting very distracted right now in getting this out. We have one primary goal above anything else in this life. It's simply to hold on, to stay human. That takes precedence over everything. It's like those movies where you can take everything from me, but you can't take this. And that is basically what's going on. They're trying to take everything from us, and their debt system they construct, and their chemtrails, and they want us to reach out and touch all the aspects of the faux society, but we have to circle the wagons around ourselves, and it's not too sexy. Whatever greater solution comes from this, it all starts here. We are in a battle here to protect what we would call our own humanity, and every time we engage with it, we give a piece of it away. Or like the Pope says, the soul goes to the abyss. It doesn't go to hell, it goes to the abyss. It's like giving away soul tokens. And I don't like human being. I'm reading a bit of Gulliver's Travels, Jonathan Swift. And guess what? He comes across a country where the horses are in control and other animals. And guess what the humans are? They're called Yahoos. Yahoo, just like the email address, Yahoo. And the search engine. Not much of a search engine anymore. Everybody just uses Google. But they're called Yahoos, and they're filthy, dirty, hairy, disgusting creatures. And the reason I bring this up is, this Jonathan Swift in Gulliver's Travels, it is a satire on the way humans live, no doubt. So he was kind of trashing humans, but he's actually trying to help us. Jonathan Swift makes fun of the human society we've constructed, and is a very positive way, makes fun of what humans have done to themselves. So in calling humans these yahoos, the humans of this realm he stumbles across are these disgusting creatures that, of course, are human, just like big hairy men or Neanderthal types. He's cutting up humans, but he's doing it on purpose, so we'll give Jonathan Swift a pass. But when the company, the corporation, Yahoo, calls the leading search engine, it was absolutely on par with Google back in the day. You would use Yahoo as much as Google. Anybody under age 35 or 40 just has no recollection of that. It was on par with Google. And they call it Yahoo. And is it actually naming your company to disparage the human race? In my opinion, yes, absolutely. They got the name directly from the Gulliver's Travels, but nobody puts two and two together, and I wouldn't either until I stumbled upon it recently. I don't know, maybe more people have read Gulliver's Travels than I figured, but I hadn't. But anyway, that's what people put two and two together when they read that the Yahoos are these disgusting creatures, and whatever that founder Jonathan Yang or whatever the founder of Yahoo did, and would say there's a relationship. I don't think most people would, of course, and to me it's clear. So when they name us human beings, to me it's a system-crafted term. We know language was created in advance, and we need to come up with something. I don't want to it's like calling myself a Yahoo after seeing the description of what that is in Gulliver's Travels. So again, there's a Mandela Effect channel called Recall Vector, and he doesn't like the term Mandela Effect, and he tries to call other names. He calls it like Recall Anomaly Paradox, RAP, or I give him credit because at least he's tried to come up with something, the system-generated name from Fiona Broom or whatever was Mandela Effect. So in this case, I don't think we should be calling ourselves human beings, because you can just sniff it that came from the system itself. And I'll comment if you can. And we should be able to name ourselves, not a title that the system, the sick system, has given us. Most likely no different than Yahoo. Oh boy, that's a long one, folks. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, it's Matt. It's good to show my face every so often so people can see, especially new people, who's behind the channel. Just some regular person like you trying to figure out the madness out our window and what the hell's going on, which it gets stranger and stranger by the day, no doubt about that. I just want to reiterate the purpose of the book, because the initial 40 chapters or 50 chapters are very, very negative. Okay? It does, or is intended to break down someone new to all of this, to break down someone's worldview. If you were to walk away from the book, or anybody new to this that I wouldn't consider to be the old YouTube guard or reality junkies that go back with me 7 or 8 years, if you were to read the first or listen to the first 40 or 50 chapters and just say, I can't take this anymore, it's too negative, this guy's presenting a certain element of reality that they're showing me, or they told me in school was such, or Anderson Cooper presented like this, and everything is breaking down. Nothing is what it seems. And underneath nothing is what it seems, there's a very dark, sinister element. The Lochnar, there's a green ball somewhere dictating things on this realm. It's very negative. If you walk away after 40 or 50 chapters, then I've done a disservice. Then you've created more hell in your reality bubble, and then you just carry that hell around with you. There has to be, I don't have the perfect positive solution, but I try to be as positive as I can on the back end of the book. Again, one of the main, this is a test. This reality is a test of some kind. I don't have the specifics, but I'm very convinced that this isn't just some random big bang that blowed up and we're just here, as the atheists say, for a short while and we just go to dust. And no, there's a purpose, an absolute purpose. It's coded in this existence. It's coded in the math. You can see the script that's running. You can feel it in your inner knowing. So one of the main ways of at least passing first grade in the test is being able to see the bullcrap that's presented. So I've said before, being able to see it is absolutely step one. Or if there are 5 major tests to pass, being able to see it is passing Billy Madison passing first grade. Maybe it's a little better than first grade. Maybe it's graduating from elementary school. We actually graduated from elementary school. Did you graduate? We had a big ceremony, ridiculous, but I guess it was fun at the time. But yeah, being able to see it. So that's always been my role, is everything presented around us on this gigantic IMAX screen, for the most part, it's fake. Everything presented by what you would call society or the powers that be or politics. And I'm going to get into that on the back end here. For anybody new, I'm going to kind of present a bridge. Here's where we are. Here's what we determined to be fake. And let's use that information to go forward to really understand what this reality is all about. But that's been my role, is I call it being able to read the matrix code, seeing the bullcrap, seeing the shenanigans, and then trying to present it in a way that people can understand. Presenting it in a way that resonates with people. People just see me, somebody trying to figure it out, no different than they are. I don't have any insider information. I wasn't initiated into anything, nor do I want to be. I simply observe the crazy reality that's breaking down before our eyes. But in doing this sort of channel, I am constantly pulled into other discussions, really, really big, high level things many times that I don't even understand. And although I like thinking as big as possible, I have always said to even figure out a tiny bit of what's going on here, we need to think around 2 corners. Was that even possible? You have to think in ways that aren't even possible, or you would think are impossible. You have to open your mind up to that degree. And even so, I don't think we're ever going to figure it out. It's not our role to figure everything out here. Our role is to get ourselves right, figure out our role in all of this. what we want to accomplish through this life test. Not to figure out all the shenanigans, how they pull off everything, how they pull off the who, what, when, where, why, and how, what exactly the George Bush creatures are up to. That's pissed on breadcrumbs they want us chasing. And I like pondering these big thoughts. I really do. Every once in a while I hit on something that resonates with people. The fact that what I call the George Bush creatures potentially in this life test are neither positive nor negative. Certainly they're not positive. But I mean